Hello, I'm Roly. I'm a custodian of this beautiful woodland in the heart of Derbyshire. And this is video blog 125. Today's reflection is on one of the quietest heralds of spring, Wood Anemone. It's one of those flowers that doesn't shout for attention. In fact, if you walk too quickly through the woodland in early spring, you can miss it completely. But if you slow down and really look at the forest floor, you begin to see these small white stars scattered amongst the leaves. They arrive very early in the year, long before the trees above us have fully come into leaf. For a brief window of time, the woodland floor receives sunlight, and plants like the wood anemone take advantage of that moment. Botanically, it's a woodland herb. It belongs to the buttercup family and grows from creeping underground that slowly spread through the soil. Very slowly, in fact, so slowly that naturalists sometimes say a colony of wood anemone might only move a few feet in many decades. Because of that, when you see great drifts of these flowers carpeting the woodland floor, it often tells you something remarkable. It tells you the woodland itself may be very old. Ancient woodlands, in fact, the plants are almost like living memory beneath the trees. Despite its beauty, the wood anemone was never really a common herbal remedy. In fact, the fresh plant is mildly poisonous, so it was always treated with caution. Older herbal texts sometimes mention its use in small dried preparations for coughs or rheumatism, but it was never a plant people relied on regularly. In many ways it belongs more to folklore than to medicine, and folklore surrounding the wood anemone is quite lovely. In parts of Britain and Europe, it was known as the windflower. The name anemone itself comes from a Greek word for wind. People believed the flowers opened when the spring winds arrived and closed again before rain. Some traditions said that the flowers trembled because fairies passed through them. In older woodland stories, they were sometimes called fairy flowers, and people were careful not to pick them. The belief was that disturbing them might upset the unseen inhabitants of the forest. There was also a quiet superstition that bringing windflowers indoors could carry the restless spirit of the wind with them, so they were best left where they belonged, rooted in the woodland soil, and that feels right somehow, because plants like this really belong to the woodland itself. They're not meant to be gathered or moved or arranged in vases. They're part of much older rhythm. They appear just as winter loosens its grip, when the air still carries the coolness of the darker months, but the light has begun to return. For a few weeks, the woodland floor becomes a kind of constellation of white stars, and then almost as quietly as they arrive, they disappear again beneath this rising shade of the trees. For me, wood anemone is less a medicinal herb and more a reminder of something deeper. It reminds us that woodland has its own memory, a memory carried not just in the trunks of trees, but in the quiet plants that return year after year, century after century. And if we're lucky enough to walk slowly enough through places like this, we become witnesses to that memory. So thank you for watching, and I do hope to see you again.